So we'll go on to the next chapter now, which is the way of love, and this is where the part of your book where you talk about love and relationships from beginning to middle to end, and typical life cycles of relationships that men and women go through.
Are you breaking up? Breaking up already.
Yeah, I know that this is going to be a sensitive chapter.
There's a lot of meaning for you, I guess.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning, and there's a couple of ways that you talk about when relationships come together, and you end a paragraph with the phrase, well, actually you say, and when our partner says, I love you, they notice a slight hesitation in our reply, and they get a little more nervous about the depth of their commitment. There's all these ways of which we meet, but there's a little holding back. And you say the relationship begins and continues with two of us 90% present. Mm-hmm. So even in the most fiery of takeoffs, you said there's often a 10% of withholding, a weariness or a suspicious insecurity that we hold back.
Yeah. It's an observation, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's no real news to anybody, the things I wrote at the beginning of this chapter, I don't think. Just trying to describe where we sit and how we relate and how we don't connect and all these various things. Like I said, a lot of the concepts are not new, but I had to set that in there as the groundwork of what else is possible out there beyond our situation today and beyond our relationships today. You'll notice that this entire book, and I said it before, went from simple truths that this guy knows. For instance, the way of discovery is his story. He knows what happened there. He's had interactions with women in the way of seduction, in the way of the natural, where this happened to me over and over and over again, so I can surmise this set of logical assumptions or intuition thereof. And we're getting into the whole journey from order to chaos, his train journey from order to chaos. The smaller questions and answers at the beginning to the larger question. Now we're talking about, okay, in the context of all this concept of seduction and desire and man, woman, what is love? Right? And so this chapter is, the further you get in this, the more questions there are and the less answers, as you know. There's observations, and then there's wondering, well, what does that mean and what else is there?
So in this 10% that we often hold back at the beginning of things.
Take me right back to it.
Yeah. I got a question on this. What is in that 10%? And I know that for a lot of guys that we might go through questions if we really like the girl of, does she like me? Does she like me? And there's a way that we're not fully there because we're in our heads with the insecurity of what might happen. And then there's another whole set of circumstances where men are thinking, do I like her? And I really like this girl. She seems good on this level, this level, this level, but maybe there's this and maybe there's this.
Am I really
maybe
ready
I'm
for this?
Going to fly here in a couple of weeks and it's not going to continue.
Yeah.
There's all these questions that I think, at least for me, have made up that 10%.
That's...
I think we've got a parade in the street.
I think so. Pause for a sec. Wait for my cue. Go? Okay, go ask the question again, Jim.
So I'm wondering about this 10% of holding back.
Yeah, because like you said, there's two things. Either we want to give 100%, but we're afraid, or we're not sure we want to give 100%. fully sure that this is what we want. Is that right?
And we're looking for evidence for or evidence against.
Right.
Against.
Right. So you're asking me, what is that 10%?
Yeah. Is there anything else you know about that 10%
No.
in men or in women? Like, how might they hold themselves back?
I think it's a combination of the two. We're not sure what we want exactly, so we don't want to overstep our bounds. We don't want to say things that we don't mean, or we really want it, or so afraid that we just hold back so that we don't get hurt. And that's as deep as I can go on that. Maybe you can say something about it. Maybe you can answer better than I don't know, or Owen or Rich, I don't know. That's that 10%, it just happens. What I'm saying there is that 10% is there in general. A withholding. Because we've been hurt before and for a variety of reasons.
Just sitting in this question right now, I feel that sense of being on that first or second date with a woman. And I can tell that I like her and I would like something great to happen. And she's with me as well. But I get a sense of that feeling of slight withholding. Like
why is it then for you? Why do you feel that? What's the 10% for you?
Uncertainty. It's almost as if growing up with so much uncertainty and insecurity with my encounters with women, I don't really know any other way. Like there's always this sense of what's going to unfold here, in the air. Actually, not always. There's been times where we've got together and it's been passionate and great, but I'm really right now sat in those dates that didn't quite work. And I'm just picking up on this feeling that's latent in those dates that don't quite fully work.
I don't know. We've got some ingrained suspicion. Suspicion about our own motives, suspicion about her, suspicion about what we really want, suspicion if it's going to work or not. Is this going to fail like everything else I tried? Right? We have that kind of like that heaviness that precedes our anticipation, that blankets our anticipation, and we guard our bets, and we hedge our bets, and we guard our heart, and we want to make sure that we're not going to mess up, and like I won't get hurt. So I'll be very careful this time, because I just got hurt with the last relationship I was in.
So we want to say the right things and not the wrong things, and hold back on those celebrations and hold back on those little jokes that we would otherwise make if we were more relaxed.
Right. Exactly, yeah. It's an observation. Why? I can't answer.
Yeah, I really don't want to do that. Like just sitting in this feeling and this concept is like, whew.
Yeah.
I want to smash, like be on the next date with a woman and just smash that to bits and like give of myself fully.
Yeah.
Call that from her.
Yeah. I agree. And I'm sure everybody is in the same boat. They want to be able to do that.
I had this thought before about relationships, and there seems to be like this journey from order to chaos around relationships as well. At least currently.
It seems like it, right?
You're single and everything's in order and everything makes sense to you, and then you're in this relationship and you have this uncertainty and everything, and then
it crashes.
And then it just crashes and burns.
Yeah.
The other side of things, you say something very strong in your story on the next page. She says, I can't believe I slept with you on the very first night I just met you. I've never done anything like this before. You say, well, I can completely believe it. It makes complete sense to me. And you say, and if we had artificially distanced ourselves from each other, staying out of each other's arms, wouldn't that have been a betrayal of the great and honest desire we both feel and the loftiness of our mutual connection? And you're saying here that if it's true and she's your girl, you're surprised if you don't sleep with her on the first night.
That is true.
And yet, from speaking from my experience, and a lot of the women who've been with me as well have said, hey, if I'm with a guy on the first night, I know that that's too soon and that that's not going to go anywhere. So I prefer to hold off for a second or third date, so I get the sense that he is more interested in me.
I get that. I understand. For me, it's like, because there's a what was the last part of the sentence you just said? I prefer to wait 2 or 3 because there is a...
Then I believe that there's more interest in him for me.
Then I know that I wrote it there, he's not going to just, run away and high-five his buddies. Right?
Yeah.
And for me, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that kind of is erased in the way I see it, because that 2 or 3 dates to see, I kind of know, and and she knows too, I don't know. It's it's such a strong aligned knowing congruent energy, and she can feel that too. That the artificial thing of let's hold off with our embrace, just to make sure that this is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I saying that right? Because I already kind of am sure. No, I am sure. I am sure, and she is too, and so I just announced it. You know the same thing as I do.
So again, it's that knowing, that trusting your gut that we spoke about before.
Yeah. That's why, I'm almost. I respect. I said it there. I think I respect a woman more if she doesn't artificially distance herself. I have great respect for her because she didn't invent some kind of withholding. There's 100%. They just have that 10% in it. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's still incredibly striking to me, because that 10% withholding, that I'm not going to go to bed with you tonight because I really like you.
Yes.
If I liked you a little bit less, then we could go for a one-night stand.
Yes.
That's the common thing that I've encountered.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this just seems like a massive twist on the
Yeah,
norm.
and it's calling something forth and announcing it as usual. Not just hoping she gets a sense of it, but really announcing it. Say, this is strong, and you know it, and it's real. It's as real as anything there is. And she gets that. She senses that too.
I'm just thinking back, wondering if it is a withholding or if it's my phrase is kind of a pauseful questioning. So I'm thinking about, I think we've all had the same experiences when there's kind of a girl you kind of like, but you're not really into it, and you almost know what to do, you know what to say,
Yeah.
you know how it's going to go. And then there's a moment of tension when there's a girl you really like. It's like one part of me wants to be really authentic and do this side, another part of me is going, I shouldn't do that. And it's this, I'm not sure it's a withholding back, it's kind of it's being torn between spilling your heart and knowing that could go bad, and here's the thing I could do that would make it be more cool and natural. It's that kind of tornness.
Yeah, my whole spirit is that I want to live full force. And I want to experience everything. I don't want to be measured. I want to have a cautious measuring of my life. I want to imbibe my senses and feel the feet or the earth beneath my feet and the wind in my hair. I want to feel that, and that is included in my conversation with women. I want to feel everything. I want to know.
So that's what's in that 10% of holding back. It's being measured.
Yeah, it's a measured caution. Yeah, for whatever underlying psychological, societal reason. I don't know. But I don't want that.
So this is interesting for guys watching. When you have that experience, I think there's a difference between a feeling of kind of a girl you kind of like and you really like. There's that kind of nervous bit. You're saying you should always go full force.
Well, no, because it might be a girl that I'm not really into either. Doesn't mean I'm going to go full force with her.
No, but in the feelings when there's a part that you wants to be fully you and authentic, and a part of you is cautious of that, going, I don't want to mess this up.
Right.
You should always bring your full, I don't mean full self as in, kind of vulnerable, spoil your heart too much, mate. I mean giving of your full energy rather than holding back.
Yeah, like everything else, as you get some experience, you start to do things from a different frame of reference. So the being afraid of being hurt. Wow, that's an interesting concept. That's interesting, because does that still exist for this guy? Does the fear of being hurt still exist for this guy? That's the big questions he's asking, she's asking, and he's sitting in at the end. What did he leave behind? You know? That's an interesting thought. I don't have an answer. Does this guy have the sense that he could ever be hurt again by women? By a woman? I don't know. And he doesn't know.
Is being hurt a good thing or a bad thing, or both? Or the ability to be hurt?
The ability to be hurt, yeah. Here we're asking bigger questions. Right? We're talking about love. The way of love. Who has seen the wind? None of us. Everybody can go on and on and on about love, relationships the way they are, the way they should be, what's changed, online dating. But who knows for sure? Nobody. And anybody that says they do, hey, I've got love figured out and I'll tell you about it. Come on, we've been trying to describe it for centuries. That's what the whole chapter is about. It's a big question. What is it? Is there the one? Is there a woman out there who's the one? Is there a man out there who's the one for a woman? Because there's half the population would say, yeah, that's true. Half the population would say, no, I don't believe that. Right? And science would say, no, that makes no sense. And then religion or philosophy would say, well, that does make sense. So who knows? I mean, we're asking big existential questions that I don't have an answer to. And we can go as deep as we want, and we can speculate all we want, but all we're doing is speculating. You have to agree to that. And there's some strong, enlightened people out there who say, no, we've examined it. We've sat on our mountain, and we've considered things, and we have some light to share relative to love relationships. I'm going, Anybody who speaks absolutes, which I do all the time,
including this one that you're doing right now,
including this one, anybody who says that they know the heart of love or what it really is, no. Because who knows? Love's a mystery.
So let's we're asking.
One thing, it's also fleeting, and I remember reading this years ago. I can't remember where from. And women, on some level, understand this, that it's just a feeling, and it can come and go at any time.
Yeah, but there's a myriad of people that would dispute that. Love is not a feeling. Love is a knowing. Love is a sense of direction.
So it's not. Right? So in that case, would it not be it's an emotion, right? Is that still?
Can be. I feel love, but you can also practice it and feel no love at all at the same time.
Can you explain that, please?
To practice love?
But not yet.
Yeah. So I could be committed to a relationship with somebody and not feel love in a particular moment because I'm feeling something else, like a bit of frustration or just a need to distance myself or take some time. But then I've got a bigger decision to practice love, which is, you know what? Like I don't want to distance myself, or I don't want to get lost in arguments. I want to show this person that I am here and I'm still connected and I do care. So I will continue to be with her and listen to her and offer myself and speak my truth, give my companionship to her. The feeling might not be there in any particular moment. I might be annoyed. But there's a practice there, which is I don't just turn up when I feel love for her or I feel desire for her. I actually show up when I feel a bit blank or I feel something a bit more negative.
Yeah.
The practice is to stay in contact with her. And therefore it's like, we are deepening our relationship by showing sides of ourselves that are not virtuous and beautiful and loving all of the time.
You know, I opened this chapter
Because it can change.
with an observation
Still confused.
about how we don't connect, we don't invest. We have that 10%. And then I said, and why? Good question. The next page, I say, why do relationships end? Who knows? Further on here, in the chapter, I say, what is love? Do we even know? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is that? Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Because I don't know.
Like that you're referencing yourself trying
Yeah.
to find an answer now.
Yeah, because all of our longing and all of our desire to try and understand the affairs of the heart, try and put it in scientific terms, biological terms, any kind of terms, have failed. And will continue to fail. So, that's kind of a cool thing. Love is a mystery is the way this whole chapter begins and ends. Observation, love is a mystery. I talk about relationships, yeah, maybe there's this, maybe there's that. But what I certainly didn't put in there is any kind of an answer. And so like we can sit in the conversation here and you can say, here, I have a question for you that I would like to search for an answer. And all I can do is sit there and search and ask the question along with you. That's all I can do.
To go back to your girl in the store in San Francisco who confirms
Yeah.
that thing, I'm reminded of why it's so important right now. Because it's like, well, I'm having an experience, I think it's love. I really think I'm in love. I feel like I'm in love. Not really sure though, because no one seems to know what love is and no one seems to agree with me. And if she says, I feel it too, even though it's not going to work, then that's confirmed.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what love is, I don't know either, but I'm feeling something strong and I feel that too. At least we're on the same page about something. Whether or not it's love is to be debated, but that being on the same page with a woman, it's like, okay, there's something here.
And we say, well, I thought it was true love, but it ended. So I guess it wasn't true after all. So I'm still looking for true love. What does that mean? What else is there than our best response to our heart? Is that not, in that moment we would say that was the most truest thing I know. My relationship with that girl is the most true thing that I can imagine in my world today. What else is there? That's as true as love gets. We're still waiting for the grass is greener, that real true love. This one, no, that wasn't true love. I thought it was. In the moment, in the 2 years I was there or whatever, I thought that was true love. But I guess it wasn't. I haven't arrived yet to some kind of understanding of true love. And now this new relationship, that's true. There's a more true love here that I feel. Your experience is as true as anybody else's on earth. You can show me a scientist who's studying the chemical attraction in the brain and the olfactory senses and doing CAT scans, and they fall in love. They meet a girl in the coffee shop, and they fall in love, and they're like, I don't understand it either.
And they quit science and go to spirituality because they can't find any answers.
Go take ayahuasca in the jungle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not evading the question. I wrote a whole chapter about it. I wrote a giant question. And the conclusion of it is, the great thing about it is we'll never figure it out. That's the beauty of it. The beauty is that there is a mystery in this whole thing. We are scratching our head. We are clicking our heels in delight when we meet somebody that really loves us, and we can feel it. And we're excited, and we lay in bed and we lay, wow, I'm really glad I met this woman. That is all there. That's all, and also like the parting and the pain of loss. It's all there. Love contains it all. Love is a many splendid thing, said the poet.